I think people get scared and then they just
Why don't you resist temptation? Because temptation is evil.
I know.
And so why don't you use your free will to resist temptation?
I don't know. Maybe I need to make it stronger or feel more secure telling the truth about little things like those little things I just said. Or
Right.
that I think it comes from within.
Do you get angry sometimes?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of?
I'm not like an angry person.
I've never seen sort of anger.
I mean, I don't
What does sort of anger feel like?
I get more emotional. I don't really get, I'm not a yeller. I don't get angry. I grew up in a house where my mom was constantly screaming. So I think do you think I yell? I don't know. I don't think that I do. I don't think that I do. I think I'm more emotional. So you grew up in a home where
your mother was constantly screaming?
Oh, yeah. She was a maniac. So
and you decided that I'm not going to be that way?
Yeah.
And so you just get emotional.
I just get, like when I'm really mad, I'll cry. Like I don't like to be mean to people and I don't like confrontation really. So I am more of like, I'll just be so upset that I'll cry. But I'm never like I
understand that. So you believe we have a free will?
Yes, I do. But now that we're coming around this way with the conversation, it seems like we're kind of going to go black and white with either you're of the Father or you're of the devil. So, so yes, to answer your question, yes, I think we do have free will. But to live in the fallen world, it's almost like we have to lie if you want to make money. I've got to lie all the time about who I am so I don't get attacked.
You lie all the time about
basically,
who you are?
Yeah. Because if you're 100% true all the time, then, I mean, look at where we live, man. We're Trump supporters in L.A. I mean, you're going to tell me that we're walking out there being like, Trump, Trump, Trump? It's not going to happen, not for me.
But are there other things that you do that you wish you didn't do, but you find yourself doing them, and you regret doing them, and then you say, I never will do it again, and then you end up doing it again? Do you have situations like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why don't you will yourself not to do it again?
Yeah, well, it's a weakness. Yeah. You can't, you just can't overcome it sometimes.
Doesn't free will mean that you're in control?
I guess that's a good point. So that would probably mean that you're your own God if you're in control. So maybe you don't have a free will.
And so you're thinking now maybe you don't have one.
Right, because, we hear people say God's in control, God's in control. So if that's the truth, then you don't have free will, do you?
Yeah.
Paradox, I guess.
Right. Why do you want to believe that you have a free will? Why do you want to believe that?
Well, it sounds so good. Look what we just voted for. We voted for freedom, did we not? We live in freedom. So that's probably one of the main reasons, feels good.
But like with your own personal everyday life, as she mentioned, dealing with temptation and all that, why do you want to believe you have a free will to deal with temptation?
Oh, to deal with temptation.
And not to do wrong.
Up until this point and recently, that's the only way I was taught. Hey, son, you got to choose.
Right.
There's consequences in life, son. You got to choose. So.
And see, that's the key. We've been taught that we have a free will. We've been taught wrong about everything, and that's why we're suffering. The Bible been interpreted wrong, and if you notice, because of that, we have a bunch of weak Christians. Men and women around the country are very, very weak because they've been taught wrong. If we are children of God, we should have power and authority over evil. We should not be given into evil at all. But we've been taught we have a free will, so now we're trying to will things to be, and we can't do that. Have you noticed that with parents, that and especially mothers, that they impose their will on their children? Have you noticed that?
Without a doubt.
And all the children who have been imposed upon like that grow up to be messed up in life because of that will. Because who else believes we have free will? Oh, y'all scared to say now. All of a sudden, all the hands are like this. We don't have a free will. We are born into sin, meaning that we're not born, like when we are born, we are innocent. Children are innocent, right? But they are born into a crazy family where the fathers and mothers are out of control. and they're fighting one another. They have anger in their hearts. They're imposing their lives on you. So they impose themselves upon their children with their anger, causing you to become angry. And as you all know by now, once you become angry at someone, you become like them. Like you were saying, you didn't want to be like your mother. So your mother's like, according to you, was screaming and overreacting, carrying on. You're like, Lord, I don't want to be like, I'm not going to be this way. But you went the other way, but yet you're still like her. You're feeling what she feels. You're just not screaming it out, but it's still there. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just that it's the same spirit, because your mother's spirit is now inside of you. You're not even yourself. You're still your mother, but you're acting out in a different way. You're not yourself. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. But I don't know. I've worked really hard to not have her inside of me. Really.
Well, and you want to overcome her, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have. I've done a lot of, we've had a lot of talks and discussions and heated and arguments and not speaking. And it's taken a long time to get where I am with her now.
Right.
So I don't know if she's inside of me. I mean, I guess I'll never forget all the things about her, but I really don't think I'm like her. I don't know.
Yeah, you are. It's just you're not acting out the way she acts out, but you're still acting like her. You're not yourself.
Is it just because all kids are molded by their parents? Is that why you're saying that? You think, or is it true? When I come out, because I was around her and my father, they're just inside of me and instilled in me, and that's why.
Yeah, well, she got inside of you by screaming and overreacting when you were a kid, and she caused you to hate her. Yeah. And so the moment you started to hate her, you lost your innocence, you lost yourself, and you became her. So the same spirit that's in her is now in you. Okay. But you can overcome that. I'll show you how to overcome that today. Yeah. And there is nothing like being you. Okay. And we'll show you how to do that today. Because you do want to overcome Mama, right? Do you still live with her?
No.
She's like, no.
Not for a long time. One
thing I noticed about not all, but most mothers, you can move to another state and she'll follow you there. Isn't that amazing?
Mine's in another country.
She won't let you live by yourself. I know I was telling my producer this morning that I have a cousin who left her husband and moved to another state and lived with her daughter and her husband. And then I have another cousin who mother-in-law moved in with them. She moved from another state, left her husband, moved from another state into their house. I would never let my mother live with me. I buy her apartment before or rent it. Or I'm like, and I was telling this cousin of mine, the cousin-in-law last night, my cousin's husband, I was saying, why don't you put your mother out? She's never gonna leave. She will destroy your family. She will undermine your family, and she's not gonna leave until you put her out. But he's too weak to put his mother out. He even said, "Oh, I see what you mean, but she's gonna leave in a couple weeks." And she's been there like a year or so, right? And so I asked, well, where is she going? He said she's gonna go and stay with my sister and her husband. I'm like, what? But they won't leave you. A mother's love is so special. It's the kind of love that stays with you until you die, because it kills you. What do you think about that? What do you think about, how old are you?
17.
What do you think about that? Your mother get on your nerves?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes, all the time.
All the time? Mm-hmm. All the time, see? A mother's love would kill you. Mama could be dead, and yet Mama lived. She controlled you from the grave. Isn't that amazing? And so do you tell your dad to help you with her? Like, Dad, help me with Mama, she's about to kill me.
My dad's in a different state.
He is? So you're dealing with her by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And my 5 dogs.
And your 5 dogs?
Yeah.
She's killing the dogs too?
Probably.
Yeah. So you have no one to help you with your mother?
No.
Wow.
Me and my aunt have talked a little bit, but she's kind of crazy too. So
Your aunt is crazy too? Yeah. Wow, this is sad. Well, we'll show you how to deal with mama.
okay,
We're going
thank
to throw
you.
mama from the train. I'll show you how to deal with her, all right?
Okay.
Can you relate to this?
Yes, I can relate to this.
And how? Tell us how.
In relationship with my mother, well, my mother is deceased, but there were times I really couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
Just got on my nerves.
Yeah.
But when I got saved, I had a different attitude towards her. I began to give her the Bible, began to pray for her, and we just sort of established a different type of relationship.
And did you overcome her? Did her spirit leave you?
No.
It's still there, huh?
It's still there,
Isn't
yeah.
that something? Mama is dead, but yet mama live.
Yeah.
You have
That's
children?
true. That's true. I have one daughter, but my sister and I, we were talking the other day how some things come up and we still feel like, oh, she still lives through us.
Yeah.
Some things we might say, so yeah, she still lives there.
That's some deep stuff, huh?
It is.
That's like deep stuff. You thinking mama dead, and so at the funeral you kind of celebrating.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
even though you pretend like you're crying because you, but they're really tears of joy. And then after the
Yeah.
funeral, you know, you have some candy yams and collard greens downstairs.
Yes, we did.
And then days later you realize mama is still living.
Yeah. But, you know, I could relate to the lady in front because, you know, our mom, you know, she yelled a lot too.
Yeah.
And, you know, her anger was sort of like, you know, you have to really do something really bad before she blows up.
Do you have children?
I have one daughter.
And how are you treating your daughter?
I try to let her be her own person.
Are you
I try
impatient
not
with her
to
at times?
impose my will on her. Like, for example, with the voting situation, I was trying to, I guess you could say, impose my will on her, but she had her own will, and she said, no, I'm going this route. I said, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I just let her go her own route.
And is her father there to help her deal with you?
Her father's ill right now, so she's, you know, just working with him, visiting him because he's sick.
Right. This your sister here?
This is my sister.
So what do you think about all this, sister? You have not been able to overcome your mama?
Yeah, she comes up like when we cook or something, and we might end up cooking like the way she cooks, or
Yeah.
saying a quote that she may have said previously. So yeah, the mother.
So you want to
still there.
overcome her so you can be yourself, be who you are?
I don't think I acknowledge her that she's like dominant in my life or anything, but just in certain instance.
But she
she'll-
shouldn't be there, period. It's like another spirit made a home in you. And that spirit causes you to do the things you don't want to do. When you want to do good, it won't allow you to do good. It causes you to do bad. And when you want peace, it won't let you have peace.
Well, I don't have those type of experiences. Like I said, it's only occasionally a quote that she may have said, or when we're cooking and so, oh, those beans
You have
smell like.
kids?
Yes,
And are you patient with your kids?
yes.
You're patient with your kids?
There's only one.
I can't hear you.
I have one son. Yeah,
You're
I'm very patient.
All right.
He's a good kid. I mean, young adult.
And I wanted to ask the Bible go-to guy this question. You know how one day Jesus was walking past a fig tree, and it had no figs on it, right? And so he like, oh, this tree has no figs on it. What's wrong with it? What's going on? And then he went away and he came back another time, and the tree still had no figs on it. And so he killed the tree, you know, because the tree wasn't worth anything. What does that mean? And then in the Bible it says, you shall know them by their fruits. What does that mean, knowing them by their fruits?
By the progress that they've made, the things they've done, the evidence that either good or evil is coming through them. And there is evidence of those things. There can be evidence of either good or evil coming through you.
Okay, so you said, what was the first
Just
thing
like
you
the
said?
evidence of the
What was the first thing you said?
of the fig tree doing its proper thing, its figs.
Right. Are you guessing at this right now? Are you trying to use other words to make
No,
it
that's my
fit?
understanding of it.
Oh, it is? Has
Yeah.
that always been your understanding of it?
Yeah, even many years ago when I read that, even as a young boy, I understood that that a fig tree should be giving off figs or you cut it down, and people who are supposed to be doing good and know to do good but don't, they'll also be cut down.
Oh, okay. That wasn't a help.
Sorry.
That is so disappointing. Who want to respond to that? You should know them by their fruits, right here.
You should be known by your fruit, and if you're not bearing fruit, then you're not worth salt. They should be burned up and thrown in the trash.
What are
Step
fruits?
Fruit of the Spirit. Fruit of the Spirit are for people, loving, kindness, those kind of things. The fruit of the Spirit. It's like an analogy.
This is so disappointing. No, I'm kidding. You're a good old Christian, right?
No, I can't say that.
So what does that mean? You should know them by their fruit. Of fruits.
If an apple tree grows apples, you know it grows an apple. If it grows anything else,
Can you guys hear way over there? Yeah, a little louder.
if it grows anything else, you know that it's not a true apple tree.
Can you give us an example, another example?
No,
You can't?
not at this
Okay.
time.
All right, right here. I want you to turn to John 15 for me. This is so good. Absolutely good. Yes.
My mom would always say, like, oh, she would try to get on my dad's nerve and say, oh, the fruit don't fall far from the tree when we're doing bad stuff.
Right.
But, yeah, like, I've came to realize, because my mom was, like, I say nobody could stand her. And then I became like that.
No one can stand your mother?
No, nobody.
In the
Nobody.
whole town?
In the whole world. Just
the whole world?
Just her friends at the bar when they drank.
okay.
And then,
Yeah.
So, and then nobody could stand me, and then my dad would be like, you just like your mom. And
Yeah.
I'd hate it.
You hated that?
Yeah. But then once I shined some light on it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I am just like my mom.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Isn't that
yeah.
amazing? I'm counseling with some women who are married, and they tell me, wow, I feel like my husband is my mother. I feel like I'm married to my mother because he has his mother's spirit in him as well. And it doesn't make him gay, it just makes him mama, instead of man, because he has her identity.
Yeah, but like I heard the girls talking about how they're like their mom.
Yeah.
But they're still girls. But when you're a man and you're like your mama, that's like embarrassing.
I know.
Yeah.
The last thing a man want to hear is that he's just like his mama. What does it mean about the fruit? You should know them by their fruit.
First of all, I don't know what fruit is until I go to the Bible and find out what fruit is, and I'll get to that. But I remember what appeared to be good fruit when Jesus was going to the cross, and appeared to be that Peter really loved him. He pulled him aside and rebuked him. So it looked like he was really loving him. That looked like good fruit, but it was detrimental fruit. So so I'm really going back to the Word of God to make sure that I understand what fruit is and then identify with that.
Right.
But my limited knowledge, I understand that that was a type of Israel, that it wasn't really producing the fruit. So he really, in fact, cursed him as an object lesson.
Okay. Interesting. Yes, sir.
Wanted to take a stab at it. You shall know them by your fruits. By their fruits, excuse me, means the person who thinks they have free will thinks he can make the tree blossom fruit. He gets mad. He's of his father, the devil. The person who understands he has no free will. When the tree gives no fruit, it's fine. There's no problem. And when it does, he'll get it. Because during those times, he wasn't cutting it down. There was no problem. So you will know the guy who knows he has no free will by his fruits.
Okay, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So if you're not operating in any of those, you may be operating in hatred. You see a person acting hatred. That means they're not operating in any of those spirits. So that's why you can notice that they're not walking in the Spirit or have the fruits of the Spirit, because I just listed those like characteristic traits. So if you're not operating in any of those, you're not walking in the Spirit.
Oh, okay. And are you walking in the Spirit?
I try to. Of course, sometimes I don't.
Sometimes
but
you don't.
When I get off, I know that I'm not walking in the Spirit, because I might be angry or upset or not talking properly. I know that I done got off. So.
Oh, okay. And are you a Christian?
Yes.
You believe in God?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, child. And so, how do you get out of believing in God and go back to anger?
If I get in anger, that doesn't mean I'm not believing in God. I'm still a believer. I just then got off. I had to bring myself back.
And so, could you be born of God and still have anger?
Yes.
How is that? Because anger is the nature of Satan. It's the nature of evil. And you know how God said you cannot enter into the kingdom until you forgive. Before you forgive,
The Bible
you must. Before you enter into the kingdom, you must forgive, because God's nature is all love all the time. It's never anger. So how do you walk away from love, go back to anger, if you're born of God?
Because you can't, you're in the flesh when you're not operating according to the fruits of the Spirit. You done got off. So therefore, when you recognize you've gotten off, you have to remember this, what I just read, and get back in the Spirit, which is love, peace.
So you believe that you could be born again of God. You have a brand new nature, and old things have passed away, all things are new. You believe you could be born again of God and still go back out and serve Satan?
Yes.
You do? Where you get that from?
Yes, because you were saying about being angry. The Bible said you can be angry, but sin not.
But not the kind of anger you have, though. He means discernment.
Because no one's perfect. The only perfect one was Jesus.
But doesn't he tell us to be perfect?
He said, if you sin, that means you gonna sin.
No, but does he tell us to be perfect?
I think, I don't remember that scripture. What scripture? Okay, perfect meaning scripture. Oh, you want to explain?
She's trying to get a mic away. She's doing like this. Save me.
I'm a visitor.
Oh, hi, visitor. And do you still have anger?
Yes, I can get upset, but I take my flesh and put it into submission every single day, so that I do walk with the Lord.
Is anger love?
You can have righteous anger.
Is anger love?
No, it can't
And so
be.
in your moments of anger, are you concerned that you're destroying your kids, you're destroying your relationships and things like that? Does that concern you?
No, I don't get concerned because I trust in God every day.
But when you have anger, aren't you destroying whatever's around you?
I don't act in that way. I don't live like that.
But you don't need to just live there. Just a moment of anger is destructive.
Yeah, well, anger is good, but what we do with it is what's wrong.
You have good anger?
Anger is good, but what you do with it is what's bad.
And do you have good anger?
No, I wouldn't say anger. It can be called good.
Right. And so if you're a child of God, how can you serve evil?
I don't believe that I'm serving evil when I get
just
upset
said
about
anger
something.
is not good, right?
Okay. exactly what she said goes on hand in hand with what I just looked
come
up.
back
But
to me.
you asked a question.
I know, but come back to me with that, and then I'll let you go there. You just said anger is not good, right?
I said it's good, but what you do with it, it can be bad.
So you're saying anger is good.
Okay, yes, it can be good.
In what way?
In a way that it can set you straight. You can realize that, hey, I made this decision wasn't right. I should have done that.
Oh, okay.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the camera is working on camera.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah. You wanted to tell me something else.
Okay, what my sister over there just said goes hand in hand with the question that you asked about they will know them by their fruits. Okay, and in Matthew 7:15-20, it right there it tells you about the fruits, and our actions show our fruits. If they're good fruit, a tree will bear good fruits, and then there's a tree that bears bad fruit.
And so, do you bear good fruits?
Yes, I do.
You do? You have children?
Yes, I do.
Did you screw them up?
Yes, I made some mistakes.
As a Christian, did you screw them up?
I wasn't a Christian then.
Oh, you weren't a Christian?
No.
And so you haven't had any kids since being a Christian?
No, I've been a Christian now 35 years.
And so have you affected your kids in a negative way since being a Christian?
Yes, I have. I think I have, and maybe I've made a mistake on how I say things, your words, so you think before you speak.
But will a child of God use words that will hurt someone like that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Does God talk to you with words that hurts?
Oh, he takes me to the shed every so often.
He takes you to the shed?
Yes, he does.
Oh.
And I need it.
You need
And
to
that's
go
what gets me back on track where I'm supposed to be.
And so you believe, too, that you could be born again and still serve evil at times?
No, you cannot serve two masters at once.
No, I mean, but you could be of God for a moment, and then you could be of Satan for a moment.
No, you're not serving Satan at that time.
When
I
you're
don't believe that.
serving evil, are you serving God? When you're angry?
If a person is serving evil, no, they're not serving God.
But when you are angry, are you serving God?
Yes, I for myself, I believe that I am, because he's always the center of what I'm doing. I always go back to him. If 1 minute I may get upset if something happens, but then the second that minute happens, I go back and I said, okay, Lord, what should I do, or how should I do it, or please help me through it.
I totally understand. This is why we all screwed up. This is why families are screwed up. You can tell, if you pay attention, you can tell when adults have not had good fathers and mothers to guide them. Because the adults' lives, the fruits of the parents are messed up. The kids are messed up. They're angry, they're emotional, they're looking for love before marriage, they are insecure, they have doubt and fear, and the fruits are our children. Whatever the parents are is what the children will become. And if you as parents want to know what your life is like, look at your kids. And every child, never mind the color, male or female, but every child that's been turned away from their fathers have not been grounded in the source that giveth life. And I have not met one adult or child who has been turned away from his or her father and they have peace. Because you have to be grounded in your father. It's the father who gives the life. And when you're taken away from your father, then you lose life and you grow up messed up. And then you start making excuses for your life. You start saying, oh, I do have a free will. Because you don't have that relationship with the father, so you're not grounded in logic. You're not grounded in the love of God. And the love of God brings logic. It gives us life. It gives us peace. It shows us how to overcome all things. Nothing gets to us because we have the love of the Father. And anyone who is not planted in their Father's love don't have life. You're bad fruits. And you're going to reproduce that in with your kids, and so on and so on and so on. I'm not, well, the vote is over now, so you vote for who you want. But one thing I noticed about Donald Trump, and I'm sure his kids have some issues, but look how powerful and respectful and straightforward his kids are. They're just like him. And then if you notice, they're married and starting their own families. And, just you can tell by his fruits, which are his kids, what type of man he is. The fruits, and then if you love your father and don't have any resentment toward him at all, and your mother, but especially the father, when you love your father, you're going to have love, joy, peace. You're going to endure all things. You're never angry and hateful at anybody or anything. You're always patient with your children as your father is patient with you. And if you notice that men and women today who don't have a good relationship with their father is worth nothing. That's why they killed the fig tree, because it didn't produce good fruits. And all people who don't have their fathers are worth nothing. They have hatred in their hearts. They're insecure. They're having children out of wedlock. They hate their fellow man. They're judging themselves and others because they've been turned away from the source of life, which is the Father. That's why you got to return to your Father. If you don't return to your earthly father, you would never, ever, ever know God. You'll know about him, and you would claim to be of him, but your life won't speak to that at all. We have to be right. We just can't do right. We have to be right. And when you're of your father, you are right. So you got to return to your father. Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't matter what happens to us on earth with our parents or our brothers or our sisters, because when we become a new creature in Christ, he will carry us. He will bring us the fruits of the Spirit. And that will portray into our children. Because, my parents weren't perfect. What do they call it?
Screwed up parents.
No. What do you call that kind of the family? The dysfunctional family, and they did the best that they could what they had. But when we're new in Christ, that's what we're going to pass on to our kids. Not my parents' things, what Christ can give, what God can give, what the Holy Spirit can give. Not dads and moms, because they're not perfect. We can't look to them. We're supposed to keep our eyes on God and God only.
That's amazing.
Not on man. And not on our preachers, not on my neighbor, not on my dad or my mom.
What do you say to that?
That's her opinion.
Do you agree with that?
Well, it's too complicated. I'm not going to even worry about that.
That's your mother?
That's my mother, yeah.
Oh, hi. I'm glad to meet you.
Same here.
Yeah. Let me just say to you, no man can get to God unless he or her or she go through the Father. You're never going to be born again of God until you can forgive your earthly father. That's why God said in the end, I'm going to return the children back to the fathers and the fathers back to the children. Because what is not known is that men represent Christ on earth. And men, they may be poor examples of it because their parents screwed them up, but they represent Christ on earth. And until you learn to love your earthly father, then you're never going to be able to go through him to return to God, because they are sons of God. They are Christ. There's an order to life, and that order is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. It's a spiritual order. And that's why evil is working so hard to turn the family away from the father, because it knows how important that father is. How can you say you love God, whom you never seen, and hate your father, who you see? You can't get to God unless you go through your father. You got to love your father. And once you love your father, then you're planted back in the source that gives us life. Because once you go through him, you will return to God. And you would see that he is your father. And you will have confidence the way a child has confidence in his or her parent, that God is my father. Until that happens, you're never going to be free. You can read the Bible till the cows come home. You're still going to be angry. Anger is not of God. There is a discernment without anger. That's because whenever you become angry, you become controlled. You're controlled by whatever you're angry at. And God is all love all the time, and that's where the real power is. You overcome evil with good. And so to you, right here, in order to overcome your mother, you're going to have to forgive her. What she did to you was wrong. And you were innocent and you couldn't help it. But, end up hating her after a while.
I don't hate her, and I don't hate my dad
you're
either.
You're just
but
angry at her, right?
No, I'm over it. I mean, I really am. It's taken me a long time, but I'm really over it, and I speak to her quite often, and I feel sorry for her sometimes, but...
But if you were over it, you would never feel her or sense her on the inside of you at all.
I don't think I do. I really don't.
You just said earlier you did.
I mean, no.
Uh-huh.
I don't really think that she's inside of me.
I wouldn't go in denial about it, because what happens is when you can see the beginning of your freedom is to admit that you have some resentment toward your mother. And then go to her because she couldn't help herself. Her mother did it to her, and so on and so on.
Yeah, and I see that with her, and she hasn't confronted her mother, but I have confronted my mother and my father.
And what did you say to them when you confronted them?
Well, I just told her that I was so angry with her because of the things that she did while I was a teenager. So, and she was sorry, and then she wasn't sorry. So it was like a battle of her trying to understand where I was coming from. But I had a question about the father.
You got to go back to your mother. You want me to go with you?
Can you, please?
Yeah.
She's in Ireland. It's going to be a long trip.
Let's fly over there.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. Let's do it by Skype or something.
Okay. I'll need you.
Okay. Here's what you got to do. Don't ask your mother to forgive you. You forgive her.
Well, that's what I told
Meaning
her.
that, you know what, Mom? You're a crazy, insane person. And as a kid, I couldn't understand why you were so crazy, and it drove me crazy. It made me resent you. Now I realize you can't help it. I'm sorry for resenting you.
Yeah, well, I told her that because now she's in touch with her real mother, and she told me a lot of things about her childhood that I didn't know before.
Yes.
So now, even though I love my grandmother, her mother, I'm like, wow, I understand
Miss,
now.
You can't be talking to yourself like that. No, not in church like this. You're talking over her. No, but you can't be doing that in here. Oh, you wanted to ask me about the father.
Oh, yeah. I love my dad, and I've talked to my dad, and I would say we have a good relationship. I mean, he's not, like, calling me on the phone all the time, but you said you have to go back to your father to, like, be at peace. And I feel like I am, but my dad's not a very, like, religious man, and I wouldn't say he's necessarily a good man. He's a good man. He's a likable man, but he does a lot of things that are shady.
Right.
And I see as an adult, he lies about them, and he thinks nobody knows, but we do. We know what he does. So
Right.
It's not that I don't respect my dad, because he was always trying to be a good provider and father.
You say he lies about things?
Yeah, he's done stuff that's not so
that's
great.
where you get your lying from?
Maybe. I hope that I cannot be like that, but
Yeah.
I would think I'm better than both of my parents, because I saw what they did to us and
Right.
the way they live, and I don't want to be anything like them. So I just think that my question was, you said to, like, get to God, you have to love your earthly father. I do, and I see why he acts the way he acts and why he does the things he does.
Right.
I don't know if he's ever going to change. So does that mean that I'm never going to be at, like, peace or know God because my dad is still doing things that are
That's a very good question.
messed up?
No, what it is, you have to truly forgive him, realizing that, yes, he's wrong for whatever he's doing, but you can't have any judgment on him at all. You know, you cannot judge. Who am I that I should judge you? You know what I'm saying? It's enough to see that it's wrong, but it's wrong to hate what you see. And so you're still judging him, and that's why you don't feel that perfect peace yet. So you need to let go of the judgment of your father. And when your mother or your friends or other family members try to talk negatively about him to you, tell them you don't want to hear it. They should pray for your father, not put him down. That make sense?
Yes, thank you.
So you need to go back and finish that up. And because whatever he's doing, he can't help it. He's been screwed up. He wants to do the right thing, but he didn't have a good example of his parents. And he wasn't rooted and grounded in the type of soil, which is love, that he should have been receiving from his father and mother.
Right. I think that's right.
Yeah. And so let go of all judgment. People of love, which is of God, have no judgment of themselves or anyone else. You discern, but you don't judge. You deal with it, but you don't judge. You have no feelings or thoughts about it at all. And so that's what you need to work out. Okay. That make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So you want to come by, let's do Skype and talk to your mother?
Sure, if you're brave enough. Yeah.
She's like, sure, if you're brave enough.
She's a good woman. I feel bad saying, but she's
not a good woman.
She is. She actually is. She's just loud and crazy.
You would not be afraid to deal with a good woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what you got to do, you got to come out of denial and face reality. She's not a good woman. You're not afraid of a good person.
Yeah. I'm not really afraid of her anymore. So.
Yeah, that's why you're like, yeah, I mean, if you want to take that risk.
No, if you want to talk to her,
yeah, she's no good because she has anger. Yeah. All people with anger are no good. They can't be trusted. They'll turn on you just like that. They'll lie about you. They'll gossip about you. They won't pray for you. So because anger is of your father, the devil, there's no love in anger. Parents say, oh, I love my kids. But yet they beat them. They're impatient with them. They're messing around, unmarried, sleeping around with men and women. But they say they love their kids. That's not love. You're traumatizing your kids. That makes sense? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so forgive them, meaning apologize for resenting them. But don't, at that point, let it go and just pray for them, wish them well. Because if they could do better, they would. Right. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Did this help a little bit?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And then once you forgive them, God will forgive you. And then the fruits of life will start to become apparent inside of you. You'll start to live that way. You will finally be yourself. You will have no fear, no doubt, no worry. You will have perfect peace. Isn't that a nice way to live?
Yeah.
I totally have perfect peace because I took the steps that I'm telling you to take right now. But you can't be in denial about it. You can't pretend like your mother's good or your father's good and not good. You just don't want to hate them for it. Yeah. And because if you are in denial about it, every man that you get involved with is going to be just like your father or just like your mother. You're attracted to that spirit that's in others. You're never going to get past it until you can forgive them so that God can forgive you. Don't ask them to forgive you. You forgive them, and God will. He has it set up where He will forgive you. Because most parents are not going to forgive you. They'll say, oh, I've done the best that I can do. I'm your mother. Oh, I'm your father. That don't mean a thing.
I didn't do anything wrong. I was just a kid.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, John 15,
John.
1 through 6.
All right.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 15, 1 through 6. This is so good. Christians are angry. They are empty. They are doubtful. They have fear. They are drinking and smoking and lying and cheating. But yet they know God. And then what they do, they excuse it. They say, oh, we can't be perfect. Even though God said, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. We can't be holy, even though God says, be holy as I am holy. But the Christians say, oh, no, we can't be that. They make up excuses for their sins. Isn't that amazing? And that's a trick of the devil. Because as long as you make up those excuses, you're going to destroy generation after generation. That's why mothers go and live with their children. They want to screw up the grandkids. They want to suck the life out the grandkids. They already sucked the life out of the children, right? So they have no more fresh life to give. So they go live with the daughter or the son and suck all the life out the grandkids. And then you say, well, Mama, you can't come live with me. And then they say, well, I'm the grandmother. I should be around my grandchildren. No, you shouldn't. You've already screwed me up. I'm not going to let you screw up my kids. Families are suffering. The average man today, especially black man, is not worth a dime. He is not worth one dime because he is not rooted and grounded in love, in the love of his Father. And the women are the same way because they need the Father's love as well. But they're not getting life. They're getting hell. They're catching hell. All in the name of Jesus. Okay, so read John 15, 1 through 6.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that bears no fruit, he cuts away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, to make it bear even more. You are clean already, by means of the word that I have spoken to you. Remain in me, and as I in you. As a branch cannot bear fruit all by itself, unless it remains part of the vine. Neither can you, unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me, with me in him, bears fruit in plenty. For cut off from me you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a branch and withers.
And if you notice, every woman, man and woman, boy and girl, who is not remaining in their fathers are miserable. They are a dying branch because they've been cut away from the tree. And they're dying. They're of the world. They're looking for love from the world. They are suffering. They are insecure. They are shy. You're not going to find what you're looking for until you return to the Father. The earthly Father is Christ on earth. And once you return to the Son, you can go back to the Father, and then you can have life. You're not going to get it any other kind of way. It doesn't matter how much money you have, where you live. It doesn't matter how many Bibles you read, even though it's good to read the Bible, not to remember, but just to search the Scriptures. It doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter anything. If you don't return to your earthly father, you will never have life. It's not going to happen because he represents Christ on earth. He is the Son of God. And evil doesn't want you to know that. That's why it's attacking men like 90 going north with the black family. The only way they were able to get to the black family, they had to cut off the father. We're going to give you welfare, but you can't have a father in the home. The government will be your daddy, and the race hustlers will be your leaders. And look what has happened. It wasn't like that prior to that taking place. It was not like that. You got to return to your fathers. You must love your father. And love your mother too. Stop hating your mother. And the reason it's so important to love your father because it allows you to return to God so you can have life. All right. Any questions about this? Yes, sir. This is so good. Is this good? Is it something? Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, let's say you forgive your father, no resentment. But a lot of people, they will have like screwed up dads, like on,
Screwed up what?
Fathers.
Right.
Like on drugs, and
right.
You try to talk to them, they're just like fried, and so what would you say to that? Like,
you still have to forgive him. He doesn't have to change. He doesn't have to admit that he's wrong. You forgive him, and God will forgive you, and then you will start a new generation. You will have love, so when you do get married and you start having children, they will have peace in their heart because they love their father who loved God. So you still have to forgive him, pray for him. God said that we should love our enemies. How do you love your enemies when you don't even love your earthly father? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So you still have to forgive him. My father and I worked things out. He wasn't perfect, and he was a preacher and all that kind of stuff. But once I forgave him and God forgave me, I had nothing but love for my father and my mother. I could speak up to them. Because as you said, your mother, you feel sorry for your mother because you're starting to see that she really can't help it. And she's not happy that way. Well, when you have forgive, you're going to see completely that way with everybody, even your enemy. You will see that your enemy cannot help it. You will be strong. You will deal with your enemy, but you won't hate your enemy. That makes sense? Yeah. Yeah, so you still have to forgive your father. And what's going to happen when you forgive, then God will forgive you, and you can see the world by the light of God. And you will love and not hate. That makes sense?
Yep.
Have you forgiven your father?
Oh yeah, me and my pops are cool.
All right, but you haven't forgiven your mother yet.
I haven't talked to her. She's been dodging me.
Oh, she's on the run.
She's on the run. Yeah. Because she knows I'm the one. I'll tell my brother, like, hey, you better talk to her, because if I do it, it's not gonna be good. All hell's gonna break loose.
If you talk to your mother?
Yeah, because I don't back down from my mom.
No, but you want to do it with patience this time. You don't want to attack her.
Right.
Because you need, as you know yourself, the things you have done, you didn't want to do, but you couldn't help it, right?
Right.
Well, the same thing with your mother. If she could do better, she would have done better. If she could have done better, she would have. She can't help it because she hates her mother, and she's not connected to her father. So you don't want to attack her, you want to forgive her. I'm sorry for hating your mother.
Right, and that's
So
what
don't
happened
go up
last.
in there talking about all hell gonna break loose.
Yeah, last time that's what happened. I attacked her, and now that's why she's on the run. But I want to go to her and apologize.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
Yeah, do not attack him, because that's God never attacked you. He loves you in your situation. He allows you. He's patient with you at all times. He doesn't judge you. He all love all the time for you. So you have to treat your mother the same way.
Right.
She's never had love. She doesn't even know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Boy, you better be attacking your mother. All hell gonna break loose. Heaven should be breaking loose.
That's what's gonna happen now.
Yes. All right. So for you, I'm sorry, tell me how old you are again?
17.
So do you know him?
Yes.
Oh, he can help you with your mother.
Yes. He referred me and brought me.
So here's what I want you to do, is take him with you and say to your mother, Mom, I've been hating you because you're so nutty and crazy. Nobody like you. Even Satan don't like you. But no, I'm kidding. But I'm sorry for holding that against you, because I'm becoming like you. And I don't want to be like you. I'm sorry for hating you for it. And if you truly mean that, your life will change just like that. And then you'll be able to live there. She can't get to you. But as long as you're angry, she's going to control you. What do you think about that?
I think that would work, yeah.
Yeah, and I want you to have a good life. Where's your father again?
Well, my biological father is in Nevada, Las Vegas, I don't know. And then the father that I call Dad, that took custody of me when I was around 7.
Right.
He's in Texas.
Oh, so both abandoned you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we find your father so you can work things out with him?
Yeah.
So you want to work things out with your biological father?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. All people long for the father who have not had that relationship with their father.
Well, I would say that I don't really want to, but I want to overcome.
Yes. And why don't you really want to?
Because he's a bad person. And he's had multiple kids, and each and every one of us are like the same. We've all had the same route.
Right. But that's not a reason not to want to forgive your father. You should want to forgive your father, because it's, once again, it's your freedom. Plus, you would be able to love your father in the right way. Your father needs love. The problem is he's overreacting to all this stuff that's going on within himself. He's overreacting to people judging him. He's just angry and overreacting. And whenever you're angry like that, it awakens the stuff that causes you to do crazy things. So you should want to work this out no matter what. All right?
Yes.
And we'll help you.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks.
All right, G will help you. This is a real man. He'll help you.
Yes.
All right. It's all you have to do is forgive. Don't let anyone convince you that anger is good. Whenever somebody says, well, Jesus was angry, trying to justify that anger, you run. Because that's a setup straight out of hell. Jesus was not angry like that. that is of the devil. It destroys, it doesn't give life. So I'm sorry that the preachers and people have convinced you that it's okay to be a child of God, which is all love all the time, and yet be angry, which is of the devil. That's another trick of the devil. When you are born again of God, you do not have anger.